So this week, I'm thinking a lot about the different ways in which we fight with reality and a concept in Buddhist teachings regarding hot and cool. Sometimes this is referred to as like hot boredom and cool boredom. I'm reading Pema Chodron's Welcoming the Unwelcome. And in that book, she's talking about the concept of emptiness and specifically hot emptiness and cool emptiness. I won't go into the deeper meaning of the concept of emptiness. It doesn't mean a void. It basically just means that things are not as we label them per se. But I think what's more relevant to us in working with intuitive eating and mindfulness and meditation is this concept of hot versus cool, and hot as a sort of like intolerance for what's going on. And I felt this myself yesterday, feeling kind of like tired and just wanting to relax, but not really being able to relax. And everything that I do to relax is not feeling relaxing. And so I was just sort of fighting with myself. And I realized that I was experiencing what they call hot boredom. Or I came to start to think of it as like a hot restlessness. Restlessness is a word that I identify with a lot. I don't know if you do, but restlessness feels like got to get out of here, but everywhere I go, there I am type of a thing. And so I was sort of watching myself struggle with this hot restlessness. I was a little cranky. I didn't really want to do anything. I sort of started the day thinking like, oh, I'm going to get all this stuff done. And then like, eventually it was 3 p.m. and like nothing had happened. and I was going through this like internal battle with myself the whole time. So there was a point at which I heard this like voice that said, sit with it. Sit with it. And I literally went and sat on my meditation cushion and sat with it, sat and allowed myself to feel the restlessness I stopped trying to outrun it. And in order to do that, there was like a softening in my body. There was a softening in my posture. There was a softening in my mind. There was a softening in my expectations. And I was able to move into what I would call kind of a cool boredom or a cool restlessness. And for me, boredom or restless, it's not going to feel pleasant, but it's definitely preferable for me. I've come to prefer the cool version of these things than the hot, because in the hot, I'm fighting with reality. In the cool, I'm working with it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what's happening and it won't last. And it feels bad right now, but we all struggle sometimes. So it just puts me in this place of having perspective and of not fighting with myself. And so I'm thinking that, for this week, it's American Thanksgiving. A lot of us are going into the holiday with concerns about physical or emotional experiences. And perhaps this concept of hot and cool, boredom or restlessness, or any other emotion that you can experience would be helpful to contemplate just by noticing, like, what are the sensations of the hot version? And then could you release the hot version and move through to the cool? One of the analogies I've used in the past to describe hot versus cool is like surfers have to swim out past the waves that are breaking on them, the breakers that are pushing them back out to shore. And so the hot version of these emotions can feel like that frenetic, I got to paddle, 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 paddle. I got to push against in order to just survive, right? But then eventually you get past the breakers, you get back to the point before the waves start breaking. And that's almost like the cool version of these emotions. So maybe that analogy is useful. Maybe you have another analogy that's useful to you. But this week and in your life, might this idea of dropping the resistance and allowing yourself to feel what's there be useful in understanding your experience, understanding your mind, contextualizing dynamics between people, being present, just showing up, being right where you are, right? Simple, not easy. So I wish you a very happy Thanksgiving, and I wish you a cool version of any hot emotions that might come up. Please know that your meditation practice and your intuitive eating practice actually give you a lot of the tools that you need to work with these things, right? Because they're all based on working with reality, tending to what's going on in the body, trusting in your innate intelligence. So have a wonderful holiday, and I will see you next week.